What's up, brothers? Man, I hope you're having a great week. I'm excited to jump back into Proverbs with you. And so this week we moved to chapter 3. But before we get there, consider again a couple thoughts from chapters 1 and 2, where God has told us about this wisdom that descends from Him and Him alone, and that it's truly a treasure trove. It's valuable, it's precious, and so you should seek after it like you would a true treasure. And in so doing, avoid the wisdom of the world that's actually not wisdom. Right? Avoid bad influences. In chapter 3, though, he takes it up another level to say this. Not only should you avoid the wisdom that's not wisdom from the world, but you should also avoid your own counsel. Like, you kind of need to avoid yourself. Listen to God as opposed to yourself. You see it in verses 5 and 6, where God says this: trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, or lean into Him, and He will make your paths straight. Like, He will give you clear direction and clear guidance, and that's an amazing promise. But it's only true if you're leaning into His wisdom as opposed to your own. So I thought it would be helpful for us to consider 4 ways in which we actually fail in this. 4 ways in which we listen to ourselves as opposed to God. So here they are. Number 1, we lean to our own understanding when we avoid prayer. Prayer is such a gift of God to us that He is saying, look, come to my throne room. As He says in James chapter 1, if you lack wisdom, ask God. Pray, fall on your knees and beg Him for His wisdom. When we avoid prayer, we are leaning to our own understanding. The second one is just kind of dovetailed right in there. It's avoidance of the Word of God. We avoid prayer, we avoid the Word of God. We are leaning on our own understanding. With regard to avoiding the Word of God, I think one of the mistakes we can typically make unwittingly is just to assume wrongly that the Word of God doesn't speak acutely to your situation. Guys, don't make that mistake. I've found that the Word of God speaks either directly or in principle to almost everything you would face in your life. And so don't avoid prayer. Don't avoid the Word of God. The third way we lean to our own understanding is by avoiding truth tellers. Guys, you and I both know we can find people in our world that will tell us what we want to hear, or tell us what we think we want to hear. We need people in our lives that will tell us the truth, that will take us to the Word of God. Don't avoid truth tellers. And then fourthly, by avoiding a delay. One of the quickest ways, or surefire ways in which we lean to our own understanding, is by making snap, quick decisions. I failed in this just recently. I made a quick snap decision one evening without really praying. The crazy thing is I actually did pray. I actually did pause with my wife and pray about this specific decision, and then we made it. And in reality, the whole time I was praying, like actually going through the motions, I knew in my heart instinctively that I should wait, just wait a night. But I made a snap decision, and the next morning, both Catherine and myself woke up with just an uneasy feeling about this particular decision. And fortunately, we were able to get out of this little predicament. But God taught me a lesson. Like, Dustin, you need to wait. You need to delay. Pray, right? And sometimes I think we make snap, quick decisions and avoid any kind of delay. And in so doing, we are showing that we're leaning to our own understanding as opposed to waiting on God. There's a great proverb about this in chapter 19 who says this: whoever makes hasty decisions with his feet misses his way. Just think about that. So 4 ways in which we lean to our own understanding is, number 1, we avoid prayer. Number 2, we avoid the Word of God. Number 3, we avoid truth tellers. And number 4, we avoid the dreaded delay. Don't make these mistakes. Lean into God's wisdom, and as you do, He'll make your paths straight, like wide open and clear. What a beautiful promise for those who will lean into Him. All right? Check out these questions. Have a great week.